Okay.
Thank you for coming to Zine Club. We do Zine Club the first Monday of every month, unless there's a holiday. So next month, our the first Monday is a holiday, so it'll be the Monday after. And we meet on Zoom and we bring zine makers to talk about the zines they've made. And today we have CJ, our DAIA apprentice. The Diversity and Inclusion Apprentice is a 10-week like paid internship. And so they've been shadowing me and Renee and the zine library at Van Nuys branch and have made some zines for their capstone. So they're going to present about how they made the zines and there's other zines and why and everything about their zine making journey. So go ahead and take it away. Thank you, CJ.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Ziba, I'm CJ. I use she, her pronouns. And right now, this presentation is about our birdwatching backpacks. And I created a zine during my time in this like apprenticeship to support those backpacks to make it more accessible for the community since it's a new resource. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I can't see the Zoom or anything, but voice it out. So, an overview, I designed a zine for the birdwatching backpacks where it explains kind of the beginning of birdwatching. Um, Features kind of include the San Fernando Valley birds, and then it is no longer, we haven't placed them in the backpacks, they will be in the zine collection and pretty much shared and checked out by anyone who is interested in checking out the backpack to coincide with it. So why I chose this project is I just saw an amazing service that was brand new. It was by the San Fernando Valley Audubon Society, and it wasn't being used as much, especially at our specific library. And when I went to the back to promote it, I was like really inspired to birdwatch, but I was also confused because I've never done it before. So I really wanted to create something more visually appealing and also beginner friendly for anyone to understand. And then it doesn't have like a hidden curriculum of like what to know, kind of bird knowledge, where to go. These simple things can really make a difference in really encouraging you to like actively partake in this activity. So my research project, I really wanted it to connect, which is also part of our capstone at the DAIA program, on the zine library. We have one of the biggest collections of zines at the Van Nuys Branch Library, and I was really inspired on how we bring these self-made zines into the public and share it as public information. And I was also inspired by the last Zine Club meeting and how like we use zines as a form of like a process to like understand information, but also like express our own feelings and emotions, and also just our art as well. And I really wanted these like zines to be like a form of like not only like a community act of giving, but like just something that will last forever after my time in my internship. And I also thought that a lot of students are on summer break and participate in our programming, like summer reading, but they don't get they don't use resources other than books. So my creative project, I actually went through a series of zines. It took a long time printing it. It does sound very simple, I just print it out, but I was having a really hard time printing it out and it's not coming off like the opposite end. So I really looked into to how to print and like the different types of ways of printing. I also looked into like the history of zine making and how to make a zine. As I said before, it seems like a very simple thing, but it's as complicated as like what color to print on, what type of paper I use, like the feeling, like the type of binding I do. And I really wanted to do blue because I thought it was a really cool way to match the backpacks, but also it reminded me of cyanotypes. And cyanotypes are pretty much a process, a photo process that is if you have kind of like light sensitive paper. It's usually blue. You put it in the sun, and then whatever is on top of it, like the shade, is captured within that. And then if you put it in like water and this like hydro acid, like it creates like this really darker blue, which kind of reminds me of that. And I sourced almost all the images and graphics from the Audubon Society to Pinterest as well. So the obstacles and lessons I've learned is deciding what information was useful and what was overwhelming. I really tried to simplify the information, and I really wanted to design it as durable and compact as possible, so it doesn't feel like a unnecessary thing to carry within the backpacks. I got a lot of positive feedback, which was good. I had a lot of people look it over, including the DAIA. Um, Cohort, and I learned a lot of new design tools and softwares. And I also just like had a better understanding of Canva after my experience, which was really great. And then we do have to talk about like the impact of ourselves after this project. So this is just kind of like my project presentation. Um, it I have a lot of different interests from like environmental education to community engagement, and I thought this intersected amazingly. I've never really created educational materials before, and it was definitely like an, a really great way to understand like inclusive language and also like trying to meet where the readers are at. And I think it really helped me gain like my resource like building skills. And I just learned in general like how to take these resources and information and make them like palatable for my audience. And then the impact on the community is that I want bird watching to feel accessible for beginners. A lot of the time, when I would go to bird watching like walks with the Pasadena Audubon Society, it'd be a lot of like the older community, and I would never see youth or families partake in this like really amazing free activity in Los Angeles. So I'm really hoping to like encourage like not only families but youth as well to spend more time outdoors and rather than on their phones. Um, and I really wanted to talk about the San Fernando Valley, especially. A lot of times, because it's so hot in the valley, not a lot of people try to go outdoors, but they forget that these like natural areas have a lot of shade and also just a lot of things to do there. And I really want to encourage them to use the um, backpacks as well. And then the impact on this Van Nuys library, it supports the zine collection in general. And with the promotion of my project, it's not only promoting the zine collection, but it's also promoting the opportunity that you can have to be cataloged within the Van Nuys Branch Library through zines. And I think it really adds, it doesn't go inside the backpack, but I do think it adds value to the backpack in general and encourages like library participants. And then this is the finished zine. It's called Birds of the Valley. It's now cataloged, which is really great, and it's open resource for all who check out. Um, and yeah, I'm really excited. It's been like finished now for a long time. So um, this was kind of my final presentation for it, and I'm really happy to like really be here sharing my experience in doing that. So lessons I learned is that good design is about making information approachable, not making information look overwhelming or like just like too much. There is like an amount of words that you can have that just like makes it a good way to like understand it. And then community partnerships help expand what libraries have to offer. And then when we intersect these communities together, we can really make something better for the community. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for Ziva, my mentor. And yeah, I really like have enjoyed my process doing all of this. It's been really, really fun. And I have been like really excited. I just have version 6, which is, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me get rid of my, I have version 6 because I did sell actually my other versions, which was so kind of people to buy the not completed set. But this is what it looks like. It's the black and white version to make it more cost effective. But yeah, this is what it looks like inside. And if you're interested, let me know. And then I also made another one with SIBO, which is a native guide to the Los Angeles River, because I don't feel that there's a lot of nature guides, but not a lot of people talk about like the native aspect of it and like the native effect and how we're not on native land and how indigenous cultures like use this river before all of us. So thank you so much for your time. If you have any questions, please let me know. Uh, thank you. I'm definitely inspired to make more. Like I feel like Zine making has always, if you ever watch like community, like go to a community event or community art event, zines are kind of like a very affordable and accessible way to be involved within your community. But it's never like you don't really see it more than just like a day thing, like a day of like you making a zine at like a, let's say at the Mocha. Um, and I really never considered it as like a way to share my art. But Ziva like showed me how like diverse and like kind of like intricate zines can be and like how further it can go, which is so inspiring.
And thank you, Renee, for cataloging it. I put the link to the record in the chat so anyone can check it out. And we'll add your other zine in there as well. And I know your Birds of the Valley zine is your capstone project, but can you tell us more about your other zine? Like show us some pages.
Yeah, let me share my screen just because I'm worried that I'll like flip it way too fast if I hold it up and you can't read anything. Let's see. So this is just like the scanned version of it. So this is the native guide to the LA River. I really wanted to focus on Tonga land and how we are a native land and how to be a land steward within the Los Angeles River. It kind of goes into like a very short description of like what the LA River is, land acknowledgement. I specifically wanted to use LA City's land acknowledgement to let people know that this is a land acknowledgement that exists within the actual city, and that we can use at future programmings. Like people always wonder why we take the time to do land acknowledgements. But the more we talk about it and the more we acknowledge it and the more we make it known, I think is really important. That like future generations can like always like refer to. Like I think of land acknowledgements as like essential as saying my pronouns. It's just really important to have it. I also talk about like community organizations who are doing the work to protect the river, but also protect the people who have been like living here like forever. So, Clock Shop Take Me to Your River project is actually a cultural atlas of the LA River, and it's pretty much they photograph and interview residents who live near the river and how the river has helped them and affected them. And it's an ongoing project. So if you have anyone to nominate, it's 51 miles. So I'm sure you know someone who lives near the river. And then like native history, like what they did before we knew it as a concrete jungle as it is now. And then the different type of native plants and native animals found in the river, and then the Tonga name as well. Uh, and then also just like a few tidbits about it. And then like and identification. Um, at the Birds in the Valley, I talk a lot about like iNaturalist. Yeah, the Great Wall of LA. The Great Natural, like iNaturalist is an amazing app that that kind of uses like images from like where you take it and identifies the plant or animal or bug. And it actually is used for future researchers to know like what types of animals and plants are in that area. And it is kind of in like a bigger system of like research that a lot of people use actually, and it's really, really helpful. Um, I talk more about like local organizations that you can support. These are all organizations that are constantly doing different events and like volunteerism and also just like opportunities for you to be actively involved. And a lot of people have trouble with that. They come to LA and like also just people who are from LA, they are kind of in the same circle of like where they live and also just like the organizations they know of and like they don't reach out to other sectors that have like amazing work that is being done, which is really great. So I really encourage. Oh, I do actually have iNaturalist, which is great. Um, but yeah, it's really great to like explore the community, and then also just like free resources to like look up these native plants because native is really important to me in my heart. I used to work for North organization called Northeast Trees, and I worked at a um, native nursery. So we would do like volunteer actions at the it's near the Auburn Dance Park. No, it's the Ascot Hills Park. Sorry, where Northeast Trulies has a nursery there that you can actually like adopt native plants, and we also have a microforest just filled with native plants that we are constantly building up. And then I do like a native challenge, and yeah, it's kind of more just like encouraging people to like really um, love and hone in on like the native wildlife and just like the native culture here in Los Angeles that is often like not as talked about as it should be. But thank you so much. If you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, if anyone wants a copy, let me know. I can also send it to you.
Thank you. I love your zines and the color schemes and the design. Is it it's pretty easy on Canva now to make zines? So you're more like digital zines,
Yeah.
right?
So I'm not a I'm I will say this with a whole like honestly, I'm not the best speller. So if you ask me to spell any word, I couldn't tell you. But I I love Canva because it's like if you think of something and you wanted to switch up the layout or like you wanted to like change something, it's really easy. And it's just like really accessible. Like you can change it at any time, anywhere. So I definitely like gotten better. And Canva has amazing templates as well if you don't feel like you are yourself like our graphic designer. Um, but it's a very easy beginner friendly thing. I don't think I'm ever going to move to like Adobe Photoshop or Illustrator because I'm not that professional. Yeah, I would love to share with USC students. That's amazing.
And so these are the first two zines you've made ever or just this year?
So I've made zines before, but not as like well thought out and researched as I have made a zine for a nonprofit called Las Fotos Project, which is like a nonprofit that teaches photography to young girls and non-binary students in East Los Angeles and on Cedar Chavez. But yeah, I haven't done anything as well like thought out and researched heavy as this, and it's been like a really great experience, I will say.
Oh, thank you. So you have a past history with zines. Can you tell us about how you got into zines with Las Fotos Project? I've heard of them. Can you
Yeah.
tell us how the zines work with them?
So it was so pretty much how Las Fotos project worked is that every semester they have classes that students can take. It's open for everyone, no matter where you are. I lived in Glendale at the time. It was during COVID, and every semester you come up with like a culmination of photos and also captions and a bio, just to make sure your portfolio is kind of well set out if you ever want to continue your work in photography. But this year, there's a class called Esasayo, and it's more of like a creative like self class. Like you're really looking into like your creative ideas and like your like your vision of like who you are, and it's like more of like a self portraiture type of work. And our culmination was like also a zine as well. So they taught us it's just a single like 11 by 8 paper that we cut. Or we fold 8 times, I believe, and then you cut in the middle, and then you're able to fold it into like a small handheld zine that they were able to scan. But this is during COVID, so it's definitely has changed into the things it is. It has 3 different classes. If anyone is interested in photography, like photography isn't just digital; it's like film, cyanotypes, um, photo embroidery. Photography can be anything. It could be found footage, and you collage it, which I've seen a lot of people do. But they have like a digital prometheus class, which is around like surrounded by advocacy in their local advocacy in their area. And then they no longer have it, but they used to have a CEO class, and that's like that helps you like promote you as like a photographer. And that's like how I got a lot of like gigs I had. Like I worked with Nike and Craft Eyewear, and they're really a great resource. Yeah, my next zine would is so I'm a doula, and I'm actually not in the hospital right now, supporting a family member. But I pretty much support with a lot of birth work and a lot of like I don't have kids myself, but I have like always had a keen interest in like supporting mothers and like people who give birth. And I really want to make more like partner guides on how to support your partner holistically after they give birth, whether it's a C-section or VBAC. And I'm right now currently doing another zine about how, like, a partner's guide to support your partner after a C-section. So it's a very specific guide, but I'm hoping to like cover the golden hour, which is pretty much the first hour they're born, and they do skin to skin. So that means just like right after the baby is born, you put the skin on the mother, and then also honoring the first 40 days, which is 40 days after birth, and making sure that they're well rested and supporting their bodies holistically, and then giving them the tools and the resources to feel comfortable and confident enough to continue that. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm doing like a pressed flower theme just because not all babies and mothers and like families are the same. And I hate reading baby books or like parent books, and it's very like gender specific, and also just like um the idea of like a man and wife as like the only like people who can be like parents or caretakers. So I really wanted to like make flowers instead as like vision, like the idea and like the symbolism of that.
Is your future zine, I'm guessing, going to be made on Canva and the same size, like one page folded in half, or are you going to do any mini zines or color, black and white, or what's your ideas?
Yeah, so I do a lot of like birth bags. So like this is like things that I usually have after the baby is born. And like I usually give them like a little bag of like to take home to use like these different like things. And I'm gonna make it like a little tiny zine. I'm also making it on Canva. But what's so great about Canva is that you can make it a public link that you can look through, so anyone can access it, even if it like they like lost it or it like got thrown away accidentally. They could just find a QR code or like on a website that they can open and like refer to. So that's like my main reason of using Canva to for everything.
Yes, we'll need a copy of your zine for Van Nuys. Thank you. And anyone have questions for CJ about the two zines presented or future zines or past zines? And you're probably gonna start oh, Rosa has a question. Go ahead, Rosa.
Thank you for sharing. Everything seems it was really I just joined maybe like 7 minutes in, but thank you for sharing your work and yeah, I look forward to seeing if you could share a copy as well. Um yeah, I pretty much everything you talked about resonated, especially the whole doula thing, and it's something I'm also kind of studied over or when I was doing the Latin American Studies Masters. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Are you almost done with your Latin American Studies masters?
Oh yeah, that was a dual degree, but I'm a librarian too, so I'm yeah. But I have a lot of my focus is pretty much a lot of about the indigenous Mexican culture and language. Yeah. And I
That's
use Canva to make scenes. So yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah. I shared my email, but I would love to hear like what kind of zines you've created in inspiration of like your studies as well.
yes, it was one of them was a Nawa scene actually, but
Sorry, could you say that one more time? It was about what?
Nawa.
Oh, okay.
Nahuatl, the indigenous language of um, Mexico.
That's really cool. How long was it? And can I ask like what size you did and if it was color?
Yeah, I could share a link to it. Yeah. It was in color and yeah.
We have a copy of Rosa Zine in the Van Nuys Branch Library, so I put a link in the chat on the full title, Our Grandmothers, Their Dreams One.
That's beautiful. I love it. Um, I love this cover. I know, is this, I don't think this is this the one that we were talking about the language, or is this a different one?
Sorry, couldn't hear you or um
Oh no, oh, okay. A zine promoting. Oh, okay. That's awesome. I love this title, Our Grandmothers and Their Dreams. That's really inspiring.
yeah,
We
thank
definitely
you.
have to check it out. I work there, so I'm so excited to go see it.
Oh, okay.
Um, the most challenging part has probably been the traveling. I live in Arcadia for context, and Van Nuys is pretty far. Um, but honestly, like it's weird. A lot of like when I was younger, for sure, like a lot of people who were already in the workforce told me so many times, like just do what you're passionate about, um, and just like do what you love. And like I feel like you hear that constantly, but you don't really understand or fully comprehend like what that means. Like what do you love, and like what are you passionate about? Um, and I've done many things. Like I feel that I've had like a lot of experiences, and I don't want to say that because I know I'm young. But I do feel that I've explored many options, and like I have truly felt the feeling of like doing what I love, and like it's like a feeling that I can't explain, but you have to experience it. Kind of like giving birth. um, which like I haven't experienced that yet, so I can't explain it, but I'm sure it's like that feeling. But I think the most rewarding has just been like you're like the idea that you're constantly doing something greater than yourself. And like I feel that like even if I've been working just on the scene, I do feel that it's making an impact on this community, and I do feel that me sharing today and me also posting on Instagram and promoting these resources we have has affected and gradually like will make impact in my community, whether it's big or small.
I think, Caitlin, that sounds great. That big or small part is so important. Actually, let me jump in with my question. I have my hand up.
Let's go
I was going to
ahead.
ask you, hey, Siva. I was going to ask you, how did you decide or determine which organizations are best for you to work with?
That's a great question. Can I ask for follow up? Is Are you asking me like what organizations to put in my zine, or was it like what organization to work with for like the San Fernando Audubon Society?
Well, I get the impression that you work with a few organizations that have to do with the work that you're doing with the ancestral lands.
Yeah, I didn't work with any organization directly. I just have like love for nonprofits, like not um I used to be a grant writer, and like used to be a part of like a foundation where we give grants. And I truly have seen like the impact and like the work and just like the overall like love people have in nonprofit. Like nonprofits don't get paid a lot, especially the workers there, and you're constantly having to be flexible and make changes. And they're there because they want to make a difference. And um, yeah, like I just really love intentionality, and I saw intentionality with these organizations, and I really wanted to highlight that. because there's no one hub, in my opinion, on like how to find these organizations. Like it's kind of like a scavenger hunt, in my opinion. And I just wanted this scavenger hunt to be a little more easier with me putting that in a zine. But yeah, with picking in general, like intentionality is really important. Mission and vision statements have just like always been really like an essential thing that I've like always looked at when I look at a website, uh, and like that's how I usually pick. But thank you for your question.
Yeah, I have a feeling I have a feeling it's the big question that everyone would want to know is because sometimes it feels like things are easy and there's lots of opportunities, but sometimes it's more just what's easy or what's available.
Sorry, are you asking if it's more easy or
Oh
what's
no,
available?
no, I was just because I was giving you some contrast.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, it's really hard. Like you sometimes feel like you're kind of like having to like make a decision of like what's easy and what's available. And I totally get that. But like if you ever like I don't know why like I like love looking into things. But if you ever have like, oh, I'm interested in like so and so, like native plants, like I can definitely support you with that. And like if you email me, I can definitely help find you like resources in that. Because I always get inspired when Siba's like doing her research questions or like reference, sorry, not research, reference questions, and like she really looks into it. And I love doing that as well. Yeah. So Kevin, the DAIA program is a 10-week summer apprenticeship for 18, and it used to be like 18 to 26, or like recent. You have to be within school. There's no age limit. We have someone as old as 32 in our program, which is I'm not saying it's old, but I'm just saying that it's definitely um, like you don't have to. There's no age limit in where you are. You just have to be within school to do it. But it's really funny. I just graduated school and she was asking me how I got in, but we're not sure either. But it's a really great opportunity because they partner you with this one of the 73 branches that are within the LAPL system, and you're directly supported by a librarian, and you're getting hands-on experience in how librarianship works. Um, my experience has impacted what I'm planning to do next is definitely like I want to go get my master's in library science, information science. Renee, Ziva, and Karina, who's a children's librarian there, have really inspired me. Definitely don't have enough money. I was looking to UCLA and USC, and I don't have that much money. But San Jose is where I'm gonna go. Hopefully, because it's definitely more affordable. Spectrum Scholars, yeah, at Illinois is where Ziva went. Yeah, the best librarian school. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Yeah, did you have a question, Kev?
Yeah, thank you so much for your awesome presentation. It's so cool to see your work. Yeah, I was curious about what program. One reason is I've been working with a lot of students. I'm a teaching and learning librarian at USC. So I've been working like increasingly a lot with like students making zines in classes. And it's and the zines are really like increasingly becoming like very legitimate like course assignments. So I thought it was such a cool thing, like almost taking it to a capstone would be like the next level of like legitimizing zine making and like, coursework too. I saw one of the examples I give of zines is from like a student who did their capstone at Columbia University as a zine. So that's really cool. I have a sort of question I was curious about. In academic libraries, like we have a lot of pressure, I think, to make like tutorials about everything from how to use the libraries to certain more substantive things like critical thinking things, and we often make these like long videos that I'm not super sure anybody really watches, right? And I for me, like zines have been like a super cool alternative to that, and they seem to get a lot more use and distribution, and maybe like in this increasingly artificial world of ours, I think students are more interested in like kind of like concrete analog objects. So I was curious maybe just like about your sense of that. Like, do you think that's something that like students would be more interested in than like just videos on a website or things like that? Like teaching content about library usage or information literacy through zines?
Yeah, for sure. I loved everything you said. In my opinion, I think anything is can be legitimate if you make it legitimate, as a course and like as like a capstone. And I really love how you said like you creating zines within the library to teach others. I do think that websites are a little daunting. Students are on their phones all the time. Imagine you as a, like, remember you being a freshman in like college, going into like a brand new school system, navigating a whole new thing called Canvas, navigating something like a new library system, how like references work, how to like research for things. You're constantly overwhelmed with information that's online, and you being a like so like if you think about your phone itself, you're constantly given information all the time, so you're desensitized to so much information, like a user agreement that when you buy a new app. So anything like, as you said, analog and something that you can physically touch, I think has like a different type of like sensory thing that goes off in someone's brain, to pay a little more attention to, in my opinion. Uh like I think of like the saying like touch some grass, like touch some zines. That physical paper really makes a difference. And like it's also like a zine is, it has to be shortened and concise, and just like there's no bluff in it. And I really love how like if you made a zine, there'd be no bluff. It'd be like, hi, my name is Thing, like I'm teaching about this, and like this is a library system. Like you're really getting to the nitty gritties of like what you're trying to show them, which I really love. Like I think that's like such a great way, and it's also just really accessible. How you can print it anywhere. You can put it in the bathrooms. You can put it in a classroom. You can put it in the library, and everyone can have it. Um, and I think we also have this like constant bias in our heads that people have access to these things. Like we have this bias that students have access to these computers, students have access to like all these different like resources, but sometimes they don't. Like sometimes they work on their phone, and like it can be overwhelming to like watch a video on their phone. And making a zine makes that even more accessible, which is great. So I really love that idea. And like if you have some, please send them. Like even though I don't go to USC, I would love to see a little tutorial about how to use like the library system there.
No, I'll send you. I'm already gonna reach out to you via email to get your zine so I can send you a couple of links. But no, I super appreciate your perspective on that. And that's definitely my sort of anecdotal impression as like an educator who's been working in these things. But it's really cool to hear your perspective on it. You know, something you just said caught my attention earlier about that idea of like, I think one reason zines are really good writing tools and like even using them in writing classes the way we are at USC lately is because it requires you to be so succinct in your writing, right? You're like, part of what writing does, right? I think it's easy to think, oh, it has to be like a long research paper or something, right? A long, 10 pages or something. But I think maybe you learn even more about writing by having to get super clear about your ideas and like what your claims are. And my experience of making a zine is exactly your experience, I think, making a zine, of like having to be like, wow, I got all this kind of content to like, and trying to get clear on that. So yeah, I think that to me, it's interesting to hear you affirm that because that's been, I think, to me, like a value of zines, but as a writing exercise.
Yeah, for sure. I really loved how you said that. Yeah, we are constantly like pushed all this, like I don't want to say slop, but it's practically slop because AI and like just in everything in general, there constantly is like bluff. I feel like we constantly need to like prove in a way to make it seem like legit. Then there needs to be more, but you can be just as effective with a sentence rather than a paragraph. And like doing a zine, you really think about the word count, and you really think like, is what I'm saying even like helpful for this? And it's really important because like it really changes the dynamic of like your each page, and each page is so important. It's not like a research paper. You can write like 56 pages and like, well, like you can write anything you want, but like I think like the intention of like choosing the amount of words and what you put down is really important. Yeah, I love how you.
And Kevin will be our presenter next month, so everyone can learn all
Yes.
about Kevin's zines
Yeah, I'm
next
so
month.
excited.
Thank you. Any zine questions or even Zine Fest? I think there's a bunch of fests that just happened. We can look on John's website and see what's coming up as well. Oh yeah, here's the link. I'll put it in the chat. It's called Zine Fest of SoCal, and John Dishwasher keeps it going. And today it's August 3rd. So coming up, we have Black Zine Fest, Spring Arts Tower Takeover, OC Zine Fest. Okay, that's the next big one that I've been to recently. That's going to be at the Anaheim Public Library, and apps are already closed for people that want to apply, but that's going to be really fun. August 15th at the, so that's a Saturday at the Anaheim Public Library. It's free, but that's in Orange County. Then there's Anyone Can Cook Zine Fest in Glendale. That's your hometown, right? So maybe you could take your new zines and go check out Anyone Can Cook Zine Fest. And that's their Instagram. And you can even just trade your zines. You could print them for free at the library and then trade them at the Zine Fest. I love trading zines. Let's see their Instagram details. Anyone can cook. I see the Instagram. Oh, I wonder. Oh yeah, it's at Junior High LA. So Southern California's. So it's a zine fest that's themed towards cooking and rats. So sort of like Ratatouille, the cartoon. I see. Yeah, they have a lot of zine events at Junior High LA. Okay, and then we're gonna let CJ head out now. So thank you so much for presenting, and we look forward to your future zines.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I have to go check on the babies now. But thank you so much for everything, and I really appreciate everyone listening. And if you have any questions, please email me. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, Rosa. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.
That's great talk. And now I'll stop recording, but we can just share anything coming up, any questions. Let's say our